Welcome to everybody. We're glad you're here on this Saturday morning. We're showing it as about 10 minutes after 10 on a Saturday, June 13th. This is presented to you by SCORE. And SCORE mentors are the folks to turn to when you need small business advice. It's all about the life of your business. And if you're not very familiar with SCORE, SCORE is a nonprofit volunteer organization that's totally dedicated to helping America's small businesses. And they're a resource partner of the SBA, the Small Business Administration. And across the country, there are 13,000 highly experienced volunteer counselors with over 300 chapters and about 25 of them in Florida. There's the Orlando office. It has about 55 volunteers and 3 part-time administrators. Of course, everybody right now is working virtually coast to coast. So if you're looking for some assistance, and again, it's free, go to score.org and better yet, orlando.score.org and pop a note in there or give them a call and let SCORE know how we can all help you. And why SCORE is unique is that it's comprised of all volunteer mentors and volunteer, but they're vetted. People are vetted. So you know that when you contact SCORE for assistance, you're going to be helped by people who have been there and done that. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel and hope that you get it right, because experience does matter. And the average amount of experience of SCORE volunteers is anywhere between 25 and 30 years per person. And they come from corporate, they are entrepreneurs, there are people that have nonprofit experience. So if you're a nonprofit, they can help you too. And of course, you know, we talk about virtual using Zoom calls and other tools, but you can get email mentoring. It's available from anywhere. And by the way, if there isn't someone in the local SCORE chapter that has expertise in your particular area, that's unlikely, but in that unlikely event, they can also get you connected with volunteers from other SCORE chapters around the country. So it's free one-to-one counseling. It's completely confidential. It's done by experienced business owners and executives. Business seminars, just like this one, are low cost. Many of them are also free, and they can be coordinated with mentor sessions. So one thing I do encourage you to do is go to the SCORE website, because there you can find all kinds of tools, templates, other resources, videos, you name it, it's there. And you can call the local SCORE number, which is 407-420-4844. And of course, SCORE is on social media, so you can find SCORE on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. So get together with SCORE and start a conversation and take advantage of these resources. I have to tell you that I have been to the SCORE offices many times, both as a volunteer and as a partner, and as someone who consulted with some SCORE volunteers, and the kind of help you can get is better than stuff you pay for in many cases. All right, so let's go ahead and get things going. My name's Ken Countess. I'm Managing Director of the Countess Group, and I'd like you to let us know the struggles that you're having with marketing, with business operations, whatever it is related to your business. And here's where the Q&A and chat buttons are. You can drop a note in either Q&A or chat, either one. Joe and I are watching both of them. And if you're not sure where they are, move your mouse to the bottom of the screen. If you're watching this presentation, what happens is the toolbar disappears from sight. So just jiggle your mouse a little bit. The toolbar will reappear, and where I have the arrow pointing, that's where you'll find Q&A and chat. So, are you ready? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're ready. There we go. John's first, Deanne, Angela, KH. Looks like everybody's ready. So here we go. This is called Surefire Email Marketing Strategies. They're the tips and tricks you need for successful email marketing. And by the way, let me also add that Um, oh, we have sound going on in the background. We have a guest. Um, so if you can mute your mic, if you're currently unmuted, go ahead and mute your microphone. Let's see if maybe I can do the muting on this side. Let's try that. There we go. Okay. So these are Surefire email marketing strategies. And what I want to mention is that this is a course that sometimes might feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot about email marketing that you may not know about, you may take for granted. This is a 2-hour version of a class that I teach that it can be all day, can be a couple of days. But this will get you a running start. So my question for you is, why is it that you're even here today? My guess is that you want to make more money, right? And so think about for a moment, what is it that you would like to improve about your marketing campaign? My guess there too is that you probably wanted to help you make more money. So what if you could act on the results of your marketing campaign? It'll help you make more money. So let's go. Do you know what the percentage of people is that check their email every single day? It's 99%. Just about everybody is checking their email every day. So that's where you need to be. And I'll also add that during this current environment that we find ourselves in, this whole COVID thing, people are checking their email more now than they were before. And so it may even be close to 100% of people now that are checking email every day. They don't have anything else to do. So we'll talk about how to make more money with email marketing. I'm going to show you the 5 easy steps that you have to take in order to harness the power of the inbox. We'll talk about how to create great content and how to get your emails opened and get them acted upon. And we'll talk about how to add video to boost results, and also another section that I added about using email autoresponder technology. It'll free you up to help you run your business. Autoresponders are really amazing because once you set them up, you let the software do the work for you behind the scenes, and you can go about doing the kinds of things that you'd rather be doing so you can make more money. Now, once again, I'd like for all of you to let us know the struggles that you're having with marketing, and I'll talk about them during the session. We have time built in to answer plenty of questions, and once again, go ahead and use Q&A or chat. We're watching them both. All right, so when we talk about marketing, there are 3 very important things that you need to have clarity on for your marketing campaign. The first is the value of your list. Now, you may say, I have a really small list, it's not worthwhile. Or you may say, I've got this huge list and I haven't been able to monetize it. So we'll talk about those. One of the things that you've got to have clarity on a marketing campaign is your goal. What is it that you want that campaign to do? Do you want it to be a magnet to get you more leads? Do you want it to be something that you can follow up with people on? Do you want to sell more stuff? And then who's your audience? Knowing who your audience is vitally important to helping you be more successful. So I've created this little tool that will help you understand how valuable having a list is. But I also want to say that it's not how big your list is. That's not the most important thing. It's the quality of your list. So if you take out a sheet of paper and just put 3 lines down that sheet, and the first, what I want you to put on that top line is the size of your list. And on the second line, your average sale in dollars. And the third, we're going to take those first 2 numbers and multiply them, and that will give you the value of your list. So here's what that looks like. Let's say you have 300 people on your list and that your average sale is $900. And this is all hypothetical, of course. So if you take those two numbers and multiply them together, your list is worth about $250,000, 270,000. Now that's not to say that for every email you send out or for every social post you put out there, you're going to generate $250,000. Of course, that's not true. But what it does do is it helps you begin to understand that the more names that you add to your customer or prospect list, the more revenue you can expect to generate when you market to that list. So for instance, let's say that you're able to double the size of your list from 300 to 600. If that middle number stays the same at 900, then the value of your list is over $500,000. So once again, the three most important things to have clarity on before working on an email is the value of the list, identifying a goal for that email campaign, and who is it you're going to send it to. So hopefully you can see how this will help you make more money. I'm going to teach you now how to make more money today with email marketing's 42-to-1 return on investment. What that means, and I'm going to refer to this several times, is that the average return on investment for email is 42-to-1. Stated otherwise, for every dollar you spend on an email campaign, you should expect 42 back. So if you spend $100, you should expect 4,200 back. If you spend 1,000, you should expect 42,000 back. And later I'll show you about a client of ours who's based in Ormond Beach, who gets 350-to-1 return on their email marketing spend. All right, so this is called Surefire Email Marketing Strategies. This is stuff that absolutely works. I also call it the power of the inbox. These are tips and tricks for successful email marketing. By the way, what we'll do is at about halfway through the presentation, we'll take a 5-minute break because I know sitting in front of a computer screen for 2 hours may be kind of tough. And you probably also will want to refresh your coffee cup. So we'll give you a few minutes to do that as well. All right, so let's talk about what email marketing is. At its base level, email marketing really is about delivering professional communications, making sure we get great looking branded emails with no grammatical and spelling errors into somebody's inbox. We're sending it to an interested audience. And this is really important because someone can easily report your email as spam or delete them, which does us absolutely no good. So we want to be sure that the information we have is information that the recipient finds valuable. It's what's in it for them, not what's in it for us. And we want that email to look great in any inbox. So what can an email marketing campaign do for you? It can drive revenue and profit. It can create or increase awareness of your business. It can boost repeat business. And these are important. And one of the things about repeat business is, would you rather be out there hunting for new customers over and over again? That takes a lot of time and it can cost a lot of money. But if you can stay on the radar screen of an existing client by popping into their inbox at the right cadence or frequency, you're more likely to generate more business at a dramatically lower cost. I want to share a quick video with you about how email works.
Email is an essential essential way to build customer relationships and get real business results. Your customers check email several times a day. Email marketing makes beautiful, professional-looking emails affordable, easy, and ready to send in just 3 steps. First, choose a customizable template and add your message, colors, logo, and images. In just minutes, you've created your email. Second, import your customer list from Gmail, Outlook, and more. When you're ready, divide your list into groups so the right people get the right message. No list? No problem. Get your list growing in no time by asking your current customers and friends to sign up. Your customers can even join your list from their phones or your Facebook page and website. Want to reach customers beyond the inbox? It's easy to share your emails on social networks like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and for your customers to share with their networks too. Think of it as the word of mouth your business relies on, gone social. Your third step? Hit send and let email marketing track your results for you. See how many opens and clicks your email is getting, and watch business roll in.
So this might be a good time for me to run another poll, and let me go ahead and pull that up. Let me ask you, all of you, the poll should have just popped up on your screen. Let us know what your level of experience is with email marketing. And while you're doing that, I'll just grab a sip of coffee. All right, we'll give you about 10 more seconds so we can get everybody a chance to respond. All right, so let me share what you said. It looks like just most everybody that's on this event is pretty much a beginner. This is great. This helps me to better understand how to make this event better for you. Let me run another quick poll now. For those of you who are already using email, what kind of challenges are you having? Tell me which ones, and this is a multiple choice. So go ahead and read through them, but check off the ones that are most relevant to you, the challenges that you're having the most, and go ahead and hit submit. We've got about half of you who have responded so far. Let's get the other folks. Go ahead and bring that poll up and go ahead and give us your responses. The more information that Joe and I have, the more effective we can be for you. And you know, I know you're taking time out of your weekend to be here, and we appreciate that. We want you to get the most value out of this event that you can possibly get. All right, so let's go ahead and share the results here too. And looks like for most, it's I don't have a big enough list and I don't get enough clicks. And then we have a smattering of the other answers as well. This is good. This will help me a lot. And by the way, there are lots of tools that are out there. I got a call just the other day from someone who said, you know that I need to use, and he ran down a litany of software products. He talked about email products and CRM and social media and web tools and SEO and so on. And he said, I know I need to use them all, and there are lots of them out there. And the caution I gave him was, look, if you have a home project, you don't go into your local Home Depot or Lowe's and buy up every tool that's out there and then hope you can learn the best ones to use. But rather, you're doing the right thing by being here, is that you come to learn from some folks who have some experience, and we'll guide you with coaching you with the right tools to use for your business, because it may be very different for you compared to another attendee. Let me do one other thing here. Yeah, here's another one that'll be helpful to us too. Is your business B2B, B2C, or both? Business to business, business to consumer, or both? And if you're a nonprofit, pick the one that's best for you. We'll give you 5 more seconds to supply your answer. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, good. Here's the result. From the majority, half actually, exactly half, customers are mostly consumers. Good. Okay, enough on the polls for now. What I want to do is talk about harnessing the power of the inbox. And if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started and use that Q&A and chat box. It's been pretty quiet so far, hasn't it, Joe? I'm not seeing a whole lot of coming in. Maybe that means we've got all experts here already. That's okay too. Hey, my name's Ken Countess. I'm Managing Director of the Countess Group. We've got 40 years of marketing experience, and I'm in my 20th year as an independent consultant, helping businesses just like yours grow. Before that, I was a senior marketing executive at 3 Fortune 100 companies. John, thank you. Yeah, I know Joe is still muted. And he can unmute himself. I'll go ahead and unmute him. So prior to being an independent consultant, I was a senior marketing executive at 3 Fortune 100 companies. They included Marriott and Motorola and CVS Caremark. With my 40 years of experience, I've been teaching businesses like yours how to do targeted marketing, how to do lead generation, get brand awareness, use marketing automation. And I have extensive experience too in corporate communications and PR. You know, we're in crisis mode now for many businesses. I've dealt with that, environmental issues, credit card fraud, you name it, I've done it. Our company is the Countess Group, and we help businesses just like yours gain an unfair advantage over your competition by teaching you how to do targeted marketing. But today, let's talk about email marketing and why email marketing is so important. And then I'll teach you how to harness the power of the inbox, and then we'll take some time at the end to put it all together and make sure we wrap a ribbon around it, and so you know exactly what to do. So let's talk about email and why email is so critical. Do you know what the #1 app is on smartphones? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. What do you think the #1 app is on smartphones? Dejan says Facebook. Deanne says Facebook. Angela says email. KH says GPS. Well, here's your answer. It's email. Those of you who said email, you're right. More than half of all emails are open today on a mobile device. That's what people are using their phone for mostly. We don't use our phones to make phone calls. Isn't that crazy? They shouldn't call them smartphones anymore. Did you know too that more people own a smartphone or a cell phone than own a toothbrush? To me, that's kind of scary. I'd much rather have people with the toothbrushes. Anyway, hey, the thing about email is that people read it. They read it every day. 99% of people are checking their email every single day. And 88% of people are regularly checking email on their smartphone. The great thing about email is that it gets delivered 90+% of the time. Compare that to Facebook text posts. If you have a Facebook business page and you're putting text posts up there, only 2% of the people following your page typically will see that. But email is seen nearly 100% of the time because it pops into somebody's inbox. Until they open it or delete it, it still shows as unread. And so you know you're going to get their attention. The other thing about email is it works everywhere. Did you know that email marketing has 3 times the conversion rate of social media? 3x. That's pretty amazing. And I mentioned earlier that for every $1 spent on an email campaign, there's a $42 average return on investment. And when it comes to email, as with most anything in life, first impressions matter. Would you rather have something that looks like this or something that looks like this? So should your first impression be the one on the left or the one on the right? Clearly, the email on the right looks more professional than the one on the left, doesn't it? So when you receive an email, let's say in your inbox, Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo, I'm sure there are people here using AOL Mail too. If it's just a text email popping into your inbox like that, are you more ready to read that or the one on the right? Clearly, the one on the right looks more professional. And that will ultimately get you closer to achieving and surpassing your business goals. So let me spend a few minutes now talking about why the email on the left is not doing your marketing any justice and why the email on the right is worth its return on investment. And John asks, how do we keep it from looking like spam? I'm going to go into that right now. So here's the situation on why regular email doesn't work. You have limited sending capability. You can only send, depending on what service you're using. If you're using Spectrum, for instance, for your email, and you're sending emails out using Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo or something like that, you're very limited on the number of emails you could send out at one time. So if your list is, say, 300 people, and you're limited to sending to 50 at a time, that means you've got to copy and paste that email 6 times to reach your entire list. We're using an email service, whether it's MailChimp or HubSpot or Aweber or Constant Contact, whichever service it is, you can send as many as you want at one shot. No, Joe, we're cool. There's no formatting control when you're sending it out using a text email. That's where it's susceptible to filters, Dejan, is that when you're sending a text type email, you're much more likely to get caught in a spam folder for several reasons. Among those reasons are you may have images that are not interpreted correctly by those service providers. You do open yourself up to potential spam complaints. Just think about if you look in your spam folder, many of those emails have a common look and feel. They're using all caps. They're using crazy images. The images are pointing to places on the web that are somewhat suspicious, maybe even nefarious. The other reason that regular email doesn't work is because you really can't get any traffic tracking or reporting. When you use an email marketing service, those services really help you look great. Email marketing will automatically give you great looking templates that you can modify and customize any way you like, make them look just like your brand. In that way, it helps to reinforce your brand identity. The email services will manage the subscriptions for you automatically. They ensure that your emails will get delivered. They will track the results for you. And I'll show you how that works in a few minutes. And it helps you obey the law. So when it comes to harnessing the power of the inbox, there are several things that you need to do. And the first is growing a healthy list. Growing your list is all about how and where you ask people to join your list. And yes, you do have to ask people to join your list. Did you know that 30% of email addresses go bad every year? 30%. What that tells you is that about every 3 years, your entire list will go bad if you do nothing. So how does that happen, you might ask? Well, think about it this way. Think about the number of email addresses you have had over time. I started using email, I hate to admit this, when Prodigy was the #1 email service, and then along came AOL. So people moved from Prodigy to AOL, and then came Yahoo Mail, and then Gmail, and then you go to work for a company, and let's say that company is no longer in business. I've worked for 2, 3 actually big companies, that are either no longer in business on their own, or they're now a division of another company. And so the original email domain went dead. So those are examples of how email addresses go bad. Dejan asks, what's your #1 recommended email marketing service? To where we just input info and they make it all pretty. Dejan, there is I obviously have experience with lots and lots of email marketing services. The one that I personally recommend, and it's because when I first started using it, it was as a customer. And then they recruited me to start teaching people how to use it because you know, we were getting great results for the company I was working for. That's Constant Contact. There are great services out there. There's Aweber and MailChimp and HubSpot. There's lots of them. There's probably 20 or 30 of them whose names you would recognize if you've dabbled in email at all. What I like about Constant Contact is its ease of use. They're continually rolling out new products and services that get added to your existing service with no additional cost. Later in this session, I'll give you a link where you can sign up for a completely free trial. And because you're on this event, you'll get a 25% discount for the life of your subscription. So why do I like Constant Contact? It's because it's easy to use. They have more paid subscribers than any other service. They have a help desk that's open 6 days a week. You can call them today and get help if you need it, and they don't charge you for it. The other services may have a lower delivery rate. I know MailChimp, for instance, is very highly regarded for people using the free service, but if you need help, there's no one you can call. They don't have a call center that you can call for free. You have to pay them $300 a month in order to get that service. All right, let's get back to growing your list and where to ask. You ask everywhere you're online. So you might have a sign up button on your website so that if someone is on your page and then they move, they try to leave. You may have noticed this on several different websites, on our website as well. When someone moves the mouse to go to another page, a pop-up shows up and says something like, why don't you join our list and we'll send you a free something, right? It might be an ebook. It might be a free consultation. It might be a coupon that's good that they can use for a future service. And once they join the list, then they get a welcome email that says, hey, we're glad you're on our list and we want to stay in touch with you and just let us know what kinds of information you want to get from us. So you ask online, and then you ask every place else you are too. When we get back to that situation where we're holding live events, go ahead and ask people, exchange business cards at an event. When we do events and we have a table or a booth, for instance, we have a little fishbowl, and we invite people to drop their card in the fishbowl to join our list. And oftentimes we'll also draw a card from that bowl and offer a door prize. You can have QR codes that enable people to sign up for your list that way. If you have a retail establishment, let's say you're a restaurant or a dry cleaner or some other retail establishment, you can have a sidewalk sign. A checkbox or an unchecked box. I mentioned a fishbowl, but the bottom line is just ask. If you ask people to join your list, the odds are they'll join, but give them a reason to join your list and let them know what to expect when they join your list. Maybe they get ongoing education or a VIP preference or insider news, or they get ebooks or white papers or updates, or maybe discounts. But the #1 reason that people unsubscribe is irrelevant content. Once again, make it all about them and not about you. Let's talk about creating great content. You've got to put your readers' interests ahead of your own. So when you send an email out, Just focus on being relevant. Make it something of value to them. And it's easy to figure out how much is enough. Did you know that the average person only spends about 15 seconds on an email? I'll give you some other tips on how much is enough in just a few moments. But if you know that someone's only going to spend 15 seconds on average on an email, that tells you don't spend all day creating it because they're not going to spend time on it. It's not a good ROI for you. If you're not sure what to put in your email, turn questions into content. I'll show you a short video in a few moments that gives you an idea of what I mean by that. And also, images make for great content too. I want you to remember to write for your audience and not for you. 38% of people will unsubscribe if it's a boring email campaign, and 32% will send it to the spam box if it's irrelevant. Both are bad. So write for your audience and not for you. Make it something that people want to open, and who can't resist opening up an email that has a picture of a doggy or a cat? You know, most people can't resist that. So when it comes to how much is enough, less is more. And what I mean by that is 20 lines of text or less. Don't go on and on and on because people just don't read it. They just don't take the time. They go on to the next one. And don't load up your email with lots of pictures unless you're Amazon, right? But that's a place that people go to buy stuff. So they can get away with it. Most businesses can't. And when it comes to how many things you should have in your email for people to click on, less is more. Fewer links mean more clicks. What this chart is showing you is that for an email that just has one thing to click on, the click rate tends to be much, much higher than an email that has even two things to click on. And the click rate drops in half when you go to 3 and 4 and so on. Now, if you send an email to me after this event, I will send you an email that does have a lot to click on. There's a big reason for that, and that is that I have some resources that I want you to be able to take advantage of, and that's all in the thank you for attending email that I send. But the typical email that goes out should only have 1 or 2 things to click on. That's all people will make time for. But here's another secret. When you only have 1 or 2 things to click on, and people feel comfortable that they got everything that they wanted to out of your email, and they know psychologically that you're not wasting their time. And so they will then psychologically anticipate the next email coming from you because they know it'll be educational and not waste their time. So when it comes to content, let's think about how we might turn questions that we get every day into content. Think about the last interaction you had with someone at your company. What kinds of questions did a customer or a client have? What information is it that people are requesting about you or your business? Can you turn those questions into content? So here are a couple of examples. Not long ago, I did a workshop, an email workshop, for a company that manufactures and sells hearing aids. And so their questions were for the dealers that attended that trade show. Yeah, they were saying, well, how do I put stuff together for an email that clients and prospects will read? So I asked them, well, what kinds of questions do you get? And the questions typically run along the lines of what you see on the screen. How do I know if I'm losing my hearing? Or what causes hearing loss? Or what's the best way to restore my hearing? So you turn those questions into content. Examples might be, If the questions are, well, how do I know if I'm losing my hearing? You might have a subject line in your email that says 7 signs that you're losing your hearing. Or for what causes hearing loss, the top 3 causes of hearing loss. Or what's the best way to restore my hearing? Your content might be 3 ways to restore lost hearing. So when we think about these kinds of questions, these are the kinds of things that we might use. So what I want to share with you are ways that you can create an email that will get opened. And once again, this is an example of what we did for a hearing aid manufacturer that was hosting an event for their dealers. Here's a short video that I put together that helps them figure out how to create a quick email. Let's go ahead and run that quick video. So here, as simple as it is, we open up, in this example, I'm using Constant Contact, and we clicked on the button that says create and then email. And once we did that, we waited for the system to respond. And it brings up some templates. So to Jean, to answer your question, this is an example of where we took a blank template and we took their content and stuck it into the template. So very simply, it's a drag and drop routine where we very simply can go in and we can add our own logo. We can create a headline we just cut and paste. 7 signs that you're losing your hearing. And then we can go in and we can edit the text very, very easily. It's just like using a Word document, and you can pre-format things. You could put them in a Word document and then copy it and paste it into an email. So let's think now about an email that talks about hearing loss. Let's go ahead and maybe we can run this one too. Let me move it forward just a little bit. Here we are to where here's someone that says they're interested in learning about hearing loss, or if you're experiencing any of these issues, it may be time to visit a hearing specialist. I'm not the best typist in the world. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get an email done than it might be for you. But here we've plugged in an image of an elderly woman who's having trouble hearing. And it's very easy to create these emails. Let me see where we are on this. This video runs long. If you'd like to have your own copy of this, I'd be happy to provide that for you. All right, so let's move forward. When we think about the top 3 causes of hearing loss, that obviously is the kind of question that many hearing aid specialists will be asked by a prospect. So one way to have that answered is, and here's what I did to create this particular email, is I went to YouTube and I thought, okay, if I type in top 3 causes of hearing loss, I'm bound to wind up with videos from lots of organizations that are able to help. So here's a video that I found. Once again, this was on YouTube.
There are 3 kinds of hearing loss that a person can have. One is called neurosensory or sensory neural, sometimes called nerve hearing loss. Nerve hearing loss is probably a misnomer because it's rarely the nerve. It's almost always the little hairs inside the organ of hearing that aren't converting the mechanical energy into electrical energy. The most common...
So it's very easy to put a video inside an email. And you can go to YouTube and just grab the URL, and a service like Constant Contact will take that URL, and when you paste it in, it'll grab a screenshot for you. I'm sure you've seen emails that have an image with that circle and the arrow in it, so you know the people receiving that email know that that's a video. and they click on that button, and it automatically takes them out to that video. And when they're done watching it, they can come back to your email. Dejan asks, for those questions into content, would you put a URL to answer it or type out the answer? I do it both ways, Dejan. And by the way, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if not. But you can do it either way. I tend to do it both ways, and it's mostly dependent on the length of the answer. Because as I mentioned, you want your email to be short and sweet. And so if you have found a resource that has those answers, and it's on a blog, for instance, or a video, I would just use the URL. And it would be something like, click here for the answer. And this way you can get on with your work, and they know that you have credibility with them because you're providing the answers. It's interesting how all this works. When you are sending out email on a regular basis and delivering educational content, it's pretty clear that you are not writing every single thing that you send. I, for example, send out an email every single Monday. The exception being on weeks where there's a federal holiday on a Monday, and then I send it on Tuesday. But I almost never write that content. I grab an article that I find online, I take the URL and I drop it into my Constant Contact account, and Constant Contact then grabs an image from that article, it creates an abstract, it creates the headline, and so when someone receives it and they're interested in more about what that article covers, they just click on the image and it takes them to the complete article. If you're not yet on my mailing list, I'd encourage you to join it, and then this coming Monday you'll receive one of those newsletters, and you can always unsubscribe. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Of course, I wouldn't be happy that you're unsubscribed, but it's okay. I want you to be able to understand how this technology works. It's very simple. It takes me 15 minutes or less to get an email out every week because the top is the same, the bottom's the same. All that changes is that article that I put in for that particular week. So it doesn't have to take and should not take you a lot of time. Images are great content too. 90% of the information processed by the brain is visual content. So pictures work incredibly well. As you saw in that snippet of the video, the doctor that was talking about hearing loss showed a graphic with the little hairs that were moving. That's a great way to communicate your message. Okay, so here's another example. Here was that third question, what's the best way to restore my hearing? And again, the subject line on that email might be 3 ways to restore lost hearing. And in this example, I created an email for them to send that had the different devices that Audina, who's the manufacturer, they're based in Longwood, by the way, that they had to offer. And when you create an email, you can preview what that email will look like. In this example, it's that email I just showed you. And here's what it would look like if someone were viewing it on a laptop or a desktop machine. And then you can also view what it would look like on a mobile device. The software programs today, virtually every single one of them, will show you what that email will look like on both a desktop and on a smartphone. And this way you can clearly visualize what that email will look like when someone receives it. So let's talk now for a few moments about designing a great looking mobile friendly template that matches your brand. So what we do here is we click the create button up at the top. The system says, okay, what do you want to do? I say, I want to create an email. And once the email dialog box comes up, we click brand templates, and the system will go out. I'm using the URL of Audina. That's the hearing aid manufacturer that I mentioned. And the system automatically goes to the website when I plug in that URL, and it finds their colors and then creates 3 templates that match the look and feel of their website. And so here in just a second, you'll see what those 3 email templates look like. Okay, so here are the 3, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and select the middle one. That's the one that most closely represents the goal that we're trying to achieve in our email campaign. And so as I mentioned earlier, you can customize these any way you choose. And the system will also allow you to view what that email will look like on both a desktop device, which looks like this, and then you can also select mobile, and you'll be able to see what that email will look like on a mobile device. And that's important because you want to be sure that the call to action, that clickable item, shows up on people's devices no matter what device they're viewing on. So here again is that simple recipe for success. We use 1 column, we use less than 3 images, less than 20 lines of text, and less than 5 links. And we want to be sure that that action is above the scroll line. That action item in this video, in this slide, is that purple button that says sign up today. You don't want people to have to scroll to see what action you want them to take, because most people don't scroll. They'll take an action if they see that button right on screen. So how do you get that email opened in the first place? As I mentioned a few moments ago, opens are good, but they don't get your cash register to ring. Clicks get your cash register to ring. So let's talk for a moment now about how to get that email opened. You want to give them reasons to pay attention, and there are 4 reasons. The first is you want to be a sender whose name is recognized. When people recognize your name, they're much more likely to open up that email. If they don't recognize the sender's name, they will either A, ignore it, or B, send it to spam, or C, delete it. KH asks, what other calls to action can you use besides sign up today? Depending on what it is that you have, it may be click here to download the ebook. Click here to go to our website. If you're holding an event, register here. If you're a nonprofit, click here to donate now. Click here to get more information. Sale ends tomorrow. Click here to take advantage. Hope that gives you a couple of ideas, KH. You want to have a compelling subject line. What's a compelling subject line? Well, some sense of urgency makes it compelling. What is it that's going to stop those people in their tracks so that they pay attention to your email? I mentioned earlier, there are day-long workshops I give on creating emails that really work. One of the most important things you could do is create that compelling subject line. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. You want the timing to be right. For example, oh, you're welcome, KH. So for example, would you send an email out to someone at 2 o'clock in the morning knowing that they don't check their email until 8 o'clock at night? Probably not, because by then your email will be way down on the list and they'll never see it. There are certain types of industries that have great guidelines for sending an email out. I'll share a couple of those with you. But the real essence of it is do a lot of testing. But if you have questions, I really want you to call me. I'm truly sincere about that. And those who have been to my workshops before, or those of you who are already clients, you know that when my phone rings, I pick it up. I want to be able to help you. That's the reason that we do these. Also, make it easy for them to follow you on social media. Make those options to follow your page or share your information easy. And the Constant Contact system makes it super simple. So when it comes to being a recognized sender, you know, they're asking themselves when they get a bunch of emails, and by the way, I get over 600 a day. So I'm always looking for who sent me that email. And the answer to the question for you is, how do people know you best? Do they know you by your company name best, or do they know you by your real name? If you're not sure, make your from name and your from email name recognizable by doing any of a couple of things. You could put your name, comma, your company name as the way people recognize you. But the more important thing is that you use the same naming for yourself across all marketing channels. So on email, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Pinterest, if you use it, Facebook, YouTube, make sure the naming is the same. Make sure it's recognizable, because 68% of people open up an email based on who it's from. And then another third of people open up an email based on the subject line. So when people get that email and they scan down that list, the first thing they ask themselves is this email worth reading? Is it worth me taking the time out of my day to open up that email? So you want that subject line to really identify your purpose. Be clear, be clever, and make it count. The size of your subject line matters. Keep it short. Your email subject line should be no longer than 30 or 40 characters maximum. And those numbers are derived this way. For people using an Android, the email subject line is truncated or cut off after the 40th character. For people using Apple products, iPhones, the subject line gets cut off after character number 30 or 31. And by the way, that includes spaces. Another way to think about it is 6 to 10 words maximum. And then there's something called the pre-header. The pre-header is that bit of text that you see just after the subject line when you're looking at it in your inbox. Here's a quick video for you to take a look at that will go through a little bit more about getting a great subject line together. Okay, watch this.
Hi, I'm Miranda. I'm a content developer here at Constant Contact, and today I'm going to tell you how to write a great email subject line. Your subject line is really important because it's the first impression that you'll make on your readers. The goal of a subject line is to stand out in the inbox, grab your readers' attention, and convince them to open your email. Today, I'm going to tell you 5 tips for writing an effective email subject line. Tip 1 is to stay short and sweet. So remember that a lot of your readers are going to be looking at your email on a mobile device, so you have very small space to work with. For best results, you want to keep your email subject line to about 40 characters or 5 to 8 words so that nothing gets cut off. Tip 2 is to avoid anything spammy. So certain language like buy now or free or loud punctuation like all caps or multiple exclamation points can send your email to the spam folder. You can use our spam checker tool within your Constant Contact account, which filters through your email content and makes sure that your email is in line to land in the inbox. Tip 3 is to ask a question. So questions are great because they pique your audience's interest. So if a contact is scrolling through their inbox and they see a question, they'll want to click on your message to get an answer from your business. Tip 4 is to include a deadline. So I think we all know what it's like to wait till the last minute to do something. So if you're including a deadline, you'll create a sense of urgency with your reader, and you'll show them that your message is timely and that they should open it. Tip 5 is to add a list. So similar to the format of this video, people love lists because it's really easy to digest the information. They know that when they open your email that they'll have a really clearly laid out set of points that they can scan through quickly. So think about what kind of list or tips would be relevant for your audience and include it in your next email newsletter. So those are all the tips I have for you today. If you're looking for more email marketing advice, visit the Constant Contact blog at blogs.constantcontact.com.
All right, thanks, Miranda. I hope that answers some of the questions that you have about how to create great subject lines. And oftentimes I get asked the question, well, how often should you be sending messages? Well, what you need to do is make sure that you keep the promises you made. When you tell someone that you're giving them a weekly or monthly regular email, stick to it. Coordinate the timing of your email across your social channels for maximum impact. In other words, you don't want the email and the social stuff to go out at exactly the same time. You want to stagger the cadence. And make sure that if it's urgent, it gets sent out at a time that makes sense, that gives people enough reaction time as well. Now, also I get asked, well, gee, what day and what time should I be sending those emails out? The day of the week and the time of the day that are best for your business will vary depending on what industry you're in. So you really want to test. And the great thing about using an email service is when you have a paid version of any of these accounts, you can send as many emails as you want each month. The price doesn't go up. It's just a flat fee. It's like watching Netflix. Doesn't matter how many movies you watch, it's one set price. So there are some studies that have been done on when the best day and time are to send emails out for various industries. For restaurants, again, this is during a time where we typically will go out to a restaurant. Things are beginning to open up, so we're starting to do that. But for restaurants, typically, it's Monday morning about 7 in the morning. For B2B businesses, accountants, financial advisors, consultants, typically a Tuesday at 6 a.m. is best. For hospitality, midweek, religious organizations, Thursdays, arts and crafts events on Fridays. And emails with social media buttons in them increase click-throughs by 158%. And you think, well, why is that? The reason is that when you include social buttons in your email, people know that you're a social business. You like doing business with people. And in fact, people do business with people, not businesses. So make sure you include social buttons. And then the last part of this is to talk about tracking results. Don't guess. Use metrics. Everything about digital marketing today, which makes it so powerful, is that we don't have to guess. We don't have to just have an opinion about what's going to work. But you need to know what metrics really matter, and then use that data to make your business decisions. I want you to focus on click-throughs. Opens are good, but they don't tell the whole story. So for example, you may have an email that has a good number of opens, let's say 30%, industry averages range from 8 to 28%. But it's really the click-throughs that matter. That's what helps you measure success. That helps you identify who the engaged readers are. In fact, industry averages for click-throughs look pretty low, but when you take it in the context of these are the people who thought enough, who found your content interesting enough and valuable enough to actually click on it, those are the people that you want to engage with. So I encourage you to spotlight on the click-through. Look at who's clicking on your content. That's going to tell you where your opportunities to drive more business are coming from. You can tell what links they clicked on, so you'll know the most popular links. You'll also be able to tell person by person who's been clicking on your content. So if you think about it, that's a great way for you to know which of the links are working best for you and who on your list is really interested in your campaigns. And then you could target them based on that interest. So let's say you've got people who are clicking on certain links, you can actually create a campaign that goes after those people. So as a bonus on this webinar, I've created a short video that helps you learn how to use email automation to your advantage.
Sending targeted, timely emails to your contacts is so easy with Constant Contact. You can now create an automated email series that will trigger to send to contacts when they open or click through a specific email. For example, if a customer expresses interest in coloring their hair by clicking a Learn More button in your email, you can automatically follow up with more information in an educational email series about dyeing your hair. In this short video, we'll show you how to get started with your automated email series. First, click Create and then click Email Automation. Then, click Create Email Series. Go ahead and give your series a name. Your customers won't see this, it's just to identify your series in your account. Now you have to select your trigger type. You can choose either Open an Email, click any link, or click a specific link. To explain these options further, Open an Email means that your automated series will start sending to any contacts that open an email. Click any link means that the automated series will start sending to any contacts that click any link in your email. Click a specific link means that your automated series will start sending to any contacts that click a specific link in your email. For our example, let's go with click a specific link. Once you've picked your trigger type, choose your trigger email. You can either choose to create a new email or copy an existing email. If you want to create a new email, select that option and then click Save. You can then click to start creating your new campaign. For this video, let's go with Copy from my existing email campaigns. Click the drop-down and select your existing email from the list. Now you need to choose which link will trigger your email series. Click the drop-down and select your link from the list. Then click Save. Now you can start building your series. Click Add to Series, and then choose to either create a new email or copy from an existing email. Let's click New Email to be created later. Then click Save. Click Create your campaign to start building your email. When you're finished, click Continue to be taken back to your series. Here, you can see your series start to take shape. At the top, you'll see your trigger email. It breaks it down for you that when people click a specific link in this email, after 4 days, they'll receive the next email in your series, and so on and so forth. 4 days is the default time between emails in your series. But if you want to adjust the amount of days, just click Edit. When you're finished adding and creating all of the emails in your series, click Activate to turn your series on. You can choose any list to send it to and choose when it sends to them. Once your trigger email sends, any contacts that click that specific link in your trigger email will start receiving your series. And that's how easy it is to automatically send targeted follow-up emails to your contacts with Constant Contact.
So it's pretty easy to get these campaigns done. There's a little bit of setup time, but once it's done, it's done. And so when you attach someone to a specific list, you're in really great shape. That enables you to continue to run your business and let the software do the heavy lifting for you. All right, so let's put it all together. As a refresh, here's what an ideal email looks like. Short subject line, 8 words, 35 characters on average. That's splitting the difference between an iPhone and an Android device. Number 2, make sure that you have your business name in your from name text. Number 3, write that pre-header text, that's the text that comes after the subject line, to entice readers to open up your email. Next, make your logo clickable. Have it set up so that when someone clicks on your logo, it takes them to your website. Next, communicate through images and make all of your images clickable. Keep it to 3 or less. And when it comes to text, less is more. Focus on the relevant content. Don't write a novel. People aren't going to read it. No more than 20 lines of text. And then have that clear call to action. Have it above the scroll line, both on the desktop and mobile version. Minimize the number of links. 1, as I mentioned, is best because after 3 links, the clicks drop off significantly. Make sure you apply your brand colors. For example, if you were looking to get a soft drink and you love buying Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola's colors are red and white. If you saw a blue image, you wouldn't think that would be Coke. Well, the same things begin to happen when you use consistent branding for your business. Keep the color palette constant. Use social media, like and share buttons. The more you do that, the more visibility you'll get. And use those metrics that I talked about earlier to help you make decisions. You'll be able to see what people are most interested in terms of following you on social media by virtue of the data that you'll be able to get in your email campaigns that show you which links for social media channels your readers are clicking on most. This will do a couple of things for you. Number 1 is it'll allow you to limit the number of social buttons you show. And number 2, if you see that more people are clicking on your Instagram link than your Facebook link, that'll be a tip-off for you to do more posting on Instagram because that's where your audience is. Did you know that more than 3/4 of people prefer to be marketed to via email marketing? The reason for that is email is passive. And also, email is something that they can get to on their time. When you post something on social media, you don't know for sure that your post is going to be seen. And as an example of that, let's say that you run a 9-to-5 business. So let's say you checked your Facebook before you went to work at 7:30 in the morning, and you saw what was in your feed, and then you spent your day working. And I said 9 to 5. Nobody works 9 to 5 anymore. Let's say it was 8:30 to 7. And the next time you checked your Facebook at 8 o'clock at night, you're picking up on your feed at 8 o'clock at night, and you have to scroll down to see where all the other stuff was that you may have missed. And the odds are pretty good you'll still miss it. But on the other hand, let's use that example. It's 7:30 in the morning, you packed up to go to work, you checked your inbox, and you got home at 7 at night, and at 8 o'clock you started checking your email. You'll be able to know which emails you didn't see already because they still show as unopened. That's why we as consumers, and I say consumers generically, as business owners and as real retail consumers, that's why we prefer to be marketed to via email marketing. We have much greater control over not only our inbox, but we also are able to tell what we've looked at and what we have not looked at. I mentioned a few times early in the session that the return on investment on average is 42 to 1, meaning for every dollar you spend on an email campaign, you can expect 42 back. I've got a quick case study to share with you about email marketing. We have a client, they've been clients of ours for years. They're in the promotional specialties business. And they came to one of my workshops, believe it or not, in 2012. I can't believe this is 8 years ago already. But when they came to meet with me, this was at Daytona Airport, their annual sales were running $50,000 a year. And they were using Google AdWords, and they were getting no return on their investment. So they gave me a call about 6 months later, May of 2013, and said, "We're ready to start using email marketing. Can you set us up with a Constant Contact account?" So of course I did. And later they sent me, in 2015, about 2 years later, they sent me this video testimonial. Watch this.
Hi, I'm Pamela Fay, co-owner of Imprints for Less, founded in 2010. We provide over 1 million products with your logo on them. Everything from bags, pens, cups, anything you can imagine. In our first year, we averaged $50,000 in sales. Business growth was slow in the first 3 years, and in 2013, we started using Constant Contact. With the help of Countess, our business tripled almost immediately. Today, we average over $500,000 in sales annually. Everyone at Imprints for Less would like to thank Constant Contact and Countess. Thanks, Ken.
So I mentioned they sent that to me about 2 years later. In 2019, they hit $700,000 in sales. They stopped using AdWords, by the way, in 2013. So for them, the return on investment is over 350 to 1. They spend about $150 a month and they generate $700,000 in sales, only using email. So it's a matter of just learning, just as you did during this session, how to do it the right way. So a quick review for you. There are 3 important things to make sure that you're successful with your marketing campaign. Number 1 is to understand the value of your list. Number 2 is to have a specific goal for each email. Don't try to do multiple things in a single email. And number 3, target your audience the right way. Make sure that you're sending emails that will be relevant to them. And you can customize those emails if you have multiple audiences that you're looking to do business with. You can actually segment your list and send custom emails to each one of those on your list. And in a different workshop, I can show you how to segment and target your list to where you're just creating one email, but depending on who's on your list, they'll get different versions of that same email. It's pretty simple and it's really cool. So when it comes to the size of your list, make sure it's a quality list. Don't be concerned about the number of names or email addresses. Be more concerned about the quality. Think about your average sale. Multiply the two of those numbers together, and that will give you the value of your list. So what's next? Well, coming up is Q&A. So I want you to be thinking about the questions you may have. How can we help you do a better job of marketing your business? And go ahead and drop them in the Q&A or the chat box. My encouragement to you is take action. You took some pretty valuable time out of your weekend, and I appreciate and respect that. Take action. Email marketing is super affordable. It starts at only $20 a month. But here's some even better news for you. There's no contract required, and as a SCORE client, you can get up to 25% off. And that's for the life of your subscription. So here's where you start. You get a free Constant Contact account for 60 days. There's no credit card, nothing to sell you here. Use the special URL at the bottom of the screen. It's completelyfreetrial.com. Here it is a little bit bigger. completelyfreetrial.com. So sign up for the account. If you go to that page and it says, hey, you've already got an account, just use a different email address. Or call me and I'll get it set up for you. And that's how we can get you started growing your business without you having to spend any money. And one of the people on my team actually used to work at Constant Contact. So my question for you is, what will your 2020 look like if you don't do anything different than you did last year? My guess is you're probably experiencing reduced sales if you're like most businesses. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, I've got 3 action items for you to do in the coming week. Here you go. Here's number 1. That is to review your marketing and think about whether it's delivering the results that you need to succeed. Step 2, schedule a consultation with me. Sign up and sign up for our events. Go on our website. You'll be able to do both right there. And number 3 is think about how you can make your marketing easier. We've got an online class. If you go on our website, it's thecountessgroup.com/easy. And when you go there, you'll see a listing of all the things that you can get from our online class. And then do what you can to automate. You saw how easy it can be for you to automate your business. You can send automated emails. You can get people on your mailing list easily. There are actually tools on our website that will allow you to automate your invoicing. Just once again, go on our website. It's thecountessgroup.com/offers. And it's the far right-hand button on the screen. You'll see a video at the top of that page. But there are several different software tools that you can sign up for, and they don't require a credit card. So go on our website. It's thecountessgroup.com. So what's next? It's Q&A, of course. So here's where the Q&A box is. Move your mouse to the bottom of the screen. Whether you're on a desktop or a mobile device, it'll be in the same place. Go ahead and drop your questions in there. Hey, look, I know we're all going through a difficult time, and we'll all get through this challenging time by working together. Take advantage of the service offerings from SCORE. Check us out, and we'll help you do a better job of marketing your business. My name's Ken Countess. I'm Managing Director of the Countess Group. We partner with all the companies that you see at the bottom of this screen, as well as several others. We help businesses like yours gain an unfair advantage over your competition by teaching you how to do targeted marketing. We are a full-service marketing consultancy. We can help you with strategic marketing, email, social media, websites, you name it. We can help you with it. And why would you hire us? Well, we're a team of over 30 people with over 40 years of marketing experience. and we can coach you or we can do it for you. My only ask of you is to make sure that you share my emails and social posts and like my social media pages. But most importantly, be sure that you absorb and practice what I've shown you today, and call me if you have questions. So let's go to Q&A, and while you're thinking of questions or typing them in, here's a look at our URL where you can find replays, you can find upcoming events, you can get software trials, you can schedule consultations, and more. It's thecountessgroup.com. And connect with me on social media. We're all over. If you're on social media, you'll find us there on whatever channels you're using, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, you can find us there. And we present live events every week. Just go to our website. It's thecountessgroup.com. That's where you'll get details, and you'll find replays of many of our events as well. Hey, in 2020, go big or go home. I think you should go for the gold. There's tons of opportunity out there. And as long as you didn't crawl under a rock during the course of this pandemic and you're committed to growing your business, you can go big. Let us help you, because you may become our next client to 10x your sales. It's thecountessgroup.com. And call us at this number. It's 407-242-4200. I want to thank you for attending our events, and I hope that you'll attend another one. This has been Surefire Email Marketing Strategies. Your next step is to complete an evaluation form. I think Joe may have a link to it. Listen to the What's the Score radio show. And here's a quick reminder that SCORE is a not-for-profit 501c3, and they rely upon donations to continue their mission. Hey, sign up for another one of our events at thecountessgroup.com. I do hope that you enjoyed this session, and I hope you'll join us again. And let me take a look at the call to action, the Q&A box and the chat box. Joe, do you have anything to add?
Well, Ken, the only thing I could add is in your close, you forgot one thing. What's the definition of insanity?
It's doing the same thing and getting bad results and continuing to do it and expecting a different result.
Exactly. So great job. Really, I've heard your presentation many times, but I guess the best testimony is always in the numbers. And the testimony you had from the lady at the end shows what you can really do for your clients. So congratulations. That's outstanding.
Thank you. I love doing it. You know, it's when you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. And,
that's true.
And I just, I love what I do. I just love helping clients. That just gives me such great satisfaction. And, that particular client, as I mentioned, they've been clients for a long time. We just had an exchange yesterday, just staying in touch with each other and finding out how we're both doing. And that's what it's about. Marketing, as you know, Joe, it's about relationships.
Yes.
And, people do business with people they like. And,
yes.
That to me, that's what it's all about. That's what makes it all so rewarding. Well, I don't see any other questions that have come in. So I guess we answered everything, or we got everybody so confused they don't know what to ask. But
that's a lead in for me.
Yeah.
That's a lead. This webinar is recorded. So if you found that, you're missing something on your notes, please go to our website and you can listen to the webinar again. And once again, Ken, thank you so much.
That's my pleasure. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining Joe and me today. Angela says I'm still beginning, but this was all very helpful information to get started. Thank you. Angela, we're delighted to help. Deanne says this was wonderful. We're so happy. We're so delighted to get that great feedback from you. And that encourages us to continue delivering events that will help you grow your business. But, if you found it to be too much, just take it a step at a time. There's no business that started out, in one day and the next day they made $1 million. You do it a step at a time. You take baby steps. and you'll be able to be successful. And we're here to help you out. Dejan says, so much info and lots of notes. Thank you for the awesome info. We're just delighted that you got so much out of it, Dejan. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to wish you on behalf of myself and Joe and the entire SCORE team, thank you so much for taking time out of your weekend to be with us today. And we look forward to having you attend another event soon. Bye for now.